I did not experience a challenge. My passport was out within a week, even back then. And I consider myself among the luckiest people because I've seen people who it took weeks, even months. So I realized people smoke a lot in Hungary.
Okay.
They do smoke a lot.
Both genders?
Both genders in equal measure.
Okay.
You find kids as young as 15 smoking. But the problem is, Hapa we had a bit less of a workload in terms of subjects, but there is a lot more. It's a lot more. They go into very, very tiny details. Penye hata mimi mwenyewe nikiwa tuko tunasoma in that much detail.
For the same subject.
For the same subject, you go through so much detail. Once you get that student card, you're entitled to get student jobs. So basically, these are usually manual jobs, but you can get like a sijui kama itawa blue collar ama ni white collar za ofisi pia, depending on your major or how lucky you are. But then there's a limitation. You can usually work maximum of 30 hours in a week. Yeah, but you can get some jobs which can give you some extra source of income. You can imagine the price of anything in Kenya uko ni 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
Yes. And then the worst thing that their currency is lower than the currency of Kenya. So it's pretty expensive to stay there.
Hello there. My name is Muchiri, and this is About Moving. Thank you for tuning in, and this is our very first episode. Today, we are glad and delighted to have someone on board. We are introducing to you Jeff Muchiri, a smart guy, Kenyan, studying abroad. I'll leave the details for him to introduce. But thank you so much for joining us on this very first episode. And we are so grateful and wish to have you on board for more content, for more education, for more fun. Thank you so much. Karibuni.
Okay, so my name is Jeff. I am a final year student studying Doctor of Pharmacy degree at the University of Pécs in Hungary.
I believe having an history of you started somewhere here in Kenya. Maybe how did you find yourself in Hungary to start with?
When I finished high school, I enrolled to Mount Kenya University to do Bachelor's of Pharmacy there. Studied there from 2018 to 2021. I was doing Bachelor's of Pharmacy. But then in 2020, an interesting thing happened. One of my close friends went to Hungary to study the same degree that I'm studying. And I was like, wow, how did you do it? I want to do that too. So in 2020, I started my application, and that's how I found myself there in September 2021. This scholarship is called Stipendium Hungaricum Scholarship.
Okay.
So if you type on Google Stipendium Hungaricum.hu, it will give you all the information regarding the scholarship. They have a very detailed PDF telling you what documents you need, which countries are eligible, which majors you can choose. And also you have to apply through the Ministry of Education because the government of Hungary has selected the Ministry of Education to be the sending partner. And the sending partner in this case means that the Ministry of Education is solely responsible for nominating the candidates who can get the scholarship. So if the Ministry of Education does not nominate you, you cannot get the scholarship later. So it's important to apply both online and to the Ministry of Education.
Maybe before we even dive into the details, how close can you say the Kenyan ties are with Hungary? For instance, pengine, when you're out there, when you have a problem, because right now you're back to the country for a while and then you'll be back there. If you face a challenge, you need help from the Kenyan side, how do you approach it?
Being in Hungary is, how can I call it? It's interesting, that's what I can say, because first of all, when you move from Kenya, you are moving to a country where people don't really speak your language anymore. So the game changes. You start over from zero. You know, the normal things that you would assume, like being able to understand what is being written on shops, on goods, you know, communicating to people, all of a sudden you just can't because there's a huge language barrier. You know, hizo vitu za geography ama za history zenye mko mnasema language barrier. You know, when you're here,
communication barriers.
Yeah, when you're here, you never really think about it until you're put out there and you realize, it's really, really a huge barrier because in Hungary they majorly speak Hungarian. You know, and not many people speak English. Although in our university we study in English, but outside university, Hungarians don't really speak English. They might know a bit, but they are not very confident, so they might end up shying away from even speaking to foreigners. So yeah, you end up having very limited interactions with Hungarians, let's say. However, there's a very huge international community, you know, because there are students from all over. For example, Stipendium has students from over 80 countries, all over Asia, all over Europe, the UK, Australia. You will meet so many people. So I think that kind of compensates, because you still get to interact with people from other countries, not necessarily Hungarians, but yeah, from other countries.
You, Jeff, need help maybe from the Kenyan side, maybe your embassy, your consul over there. How do you approach it? Maybe how?
In Hungary, there's no Kenyan consulate or embassy.
Okay.
However, there is a consulate in Vienna, that's right next to Hungary, in Austria. And there's a bigger, I think, an actual embassy in Berlin, Germany. So if you need anything like Kenyan documents or something, usually you can go to Vienna, because from Budapest to Vienna is like 1.5 hours by train or 2 hours by bus. So it's not really far.
Okay.
And also the Embassy of Vienna takes an initiative to have a satellite kind of day where they come to Budapest, and everyone who has issues that they need with documentation ama kitu yote tu inahusu Kenya, so you can go there and meet them in Budapest, and whatever they can't handle, they usually refer you to Berlin in Germany. And then the good thing is, because Hungary is a Schengen country, you can get to travel to the 23 countries without needing visa. So you can easily go to Germany without needing extra papers. You just need your Hungarian papers, or to Vienna. So hakuna any extra thing you need. Just Schengen.
Schengen.
Yes.
What's that?
So this basically is an agreement between, I'm not sure whether it's 23 or 20 something European countries, where they open up borders to each other.
Okay.
So literally because I've traveled quite a bit in Europe, you don't even notice you're in another country, because there's no border post where someone is going to stamp your passport or ask for your documents. Because of this agreement, they have allowed free movement with each other. So that benefits both the citizens of those countries as well as the residents. Residents ni kama sisi wenye tumeenda hapo kusoma or work or whatever. So yeah.
How easy was it, like getting the paperwork, getting even the passport, Kenya? We've had the challenge. Okay, the government has been insisting that right now they are trying to work around that, to make sure there is a high, the time it takes to get your passport, whatever documentation is lesser than before. But maybe back then, that was in 2020, right? If I got it right. So how easy was it for you to get this documentation, for you to travel outside there?
I did not experience a challenge. My passport was out within a week, even back then. And I consider myself among the luckiest people, because I've seen people who it took weeks, even months, to get the same document. However, I would really commend the Kenyan government, because I think last year I helped a few people apply for the passport, and it was out within days. Literally at a wiki kuisha, they get the message. So I think now the process is much faster.
Yeah, sure.
And I would advise everyone who has ever dreamt of going abroad, they should have a passport. Si lazima ati ungoje ukuwe na opportunity ndio ikuanga tunayo.
This is your first day. You're getting to, let's not even talk about the flight. I'm assuming from JKIA, right? Jomo Kenyatta International. So you're there. Do you even remember the date?
Yes. It was 24th of August, 2021.
2021.
Yes.
How was the experience? Even before you left the country, even before boarding that plane and the whole journey there?
It was, I was super, super excited.
Okay.
I remember on that particular day, my flight was leaving at 4 a.m. Asubuhi. And the day before we left, we had this kind of goodbye farewell thing with my family, some sort of sherehe. And I was just so excited. The whole time at Askulala, usiku, I was just like, when will I get to the airport? Because it would be my very first time. My very first time to leave the country, so I was really, really curious. And it was quite smooth because in my head I had questions like, which flight do I know? Which flight is mine, for example? Nitajua aje ni gani nafaa kuingia.
Exactly.
You get. But once you get there, you realize everything is quite straightforward. And then the staff at the airport are usually really helpful. So yeah, it was quite smooth for my first time flying.
Yeah. How long to Hungary?
So to Hungary, it takes approximately 10 hours. So the flight that I took the first time, I used Turkish Airlines. So it went through Istanbul in Turkey. So from Nairobi to Istanbul is around 7 hours. And then from Istanbul to Budapest, around 2 to 3 hours, depending. So yeah.
Roughly 3 p.m. maybe, 4 thereabout, you were in Hungary.
The thing is, when I booked the flight, it had a layover. So layover, basically you are in the airport waiting until the next flight. And mine was 8 hours. So I stayed 8 hours in Istanbul waiting for my next flight. I mean, it was my first time booking a flight, so I didn't really know about this concept of layover or try to look for a shorter layover. So I just went to the cheapest that I could find.
Exactly. On the 15th now, if I'm really following the story, on the 15th ulikuwa in Hungary now.
On 25th, yeah.
On 25th, sorry.
Yeah.
So you're there, finally, you're there.
Yeah.
The dream is coming true.
Yeah.
How was that feeling?
So, because I went in 2021, we are just getting out of COVID. So there was still a bit of restrictions, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I needed a lot of documentation to get on that flight.
Yeah.
I needed to have PCRs, I don't know, vaccination. Yeah, amongst other documents. So when I got there, there was they call it a transfer shuttle, because the town that I'm in is approximately 250 kilometers from Budapest.
Okay.
So I landed, there was that shuttle that was waiting for me at the airport. So ni kuingia, and it delivered me right outside the dorm of my university. And since it was COVID time, I had to quarantine.
Yeah.
And I did quarantine for 7 days. So I would say those were some of the most boring days, because I could just see a bit from my window. I mean, this new country, this new place, but I cannot really get out because there's a sticker on the door with the red thing that I'm on quarantine. So yeah, it was pretty boring those days, and especially because there was no contact. Nilikuwa naekewa food hapo kwa mlango na wanaenda. Hata I couldn't see anyone, so nafungua mlango na ichukua.
And take your food.
Yeah.
What an experience.
Yeah, so it was quite isolating. But then kulikuwa na wifi. Unajua mimi sasa Kenya kwa nimezoea kununua tu bundles kidogo.
Yeah.
Alafu pale napata kuna wifi. So I was pretty much a bit occupied, although I was still bored. So when my quarantine was over, ndio nikaanza sasa kutembea, I'm like, wow, this place is different. Every single thing about it was different. Even the driving, let's say, when I drive on the right side, drive on the left side, it's like, okay, so the steering wheel is on the, say hata nimechanganyikiwa sijui which side, you know. And you find the public transport there is organized, si kugonga-gongewa mkiambiwa dheka
Beba.
So it's organized, it's time-based. There they really take care of deadlines. So if someone tells you, do this by this date and this time, they're dead serious about it. Unajua Wakenya tunaweza kuwa like, oh, we can negotiate our way out of many things, usually. Yeah. And soon you start to realize, oh, hii habit yangu ya kukaa ni kama hakuna haraka. It might work to my disadvantage. Because everything there is very fast. Yeah. Very fast. Ukifika hivi, the emails, and then again, the emails. For example, tukiwa MKU shule kwa inatutumia emails. I actually come na shangata, how did you used to get information? Yeah. Because, you know, they never really like sent us emails back then. Maybe nowadays they do. But yeah, they realize email, Microsoft Teams, that's how information is sent. For example, funny bit, I'm a scholarship student, but ukaniuliza nani specifically is responsible for this scholarship. I've never seen them. I just get emails. Do this, sign a contract. They send it to us via email. So I cannot say huyu ndo mkubwa wa scholarship ama ule ndo ako responsible for that. Everything is just via emails, Teams. We have a system called Neptune. That's like the school portal. So they communicate everything through that. And if you do what they say, you don't have to look for a particular person to do that. And then the good thing with them is they respond to emails. So if you email them with an issue, they will get to you as soon as they can. So they're also quite efficient with that. Something I didn't really experience in Kenya. Kama utaenda kwa ofisi physically, uambie mtu akufanyie kitu physically, probably they won't do it.
You're in a foreign country. Now, as we discuss, you've given us quite your experience. You're in a foreign country at this point, and you're trying to fit in a new place. You're done with the quarantine. You're at the university. So apart from the language barrier, maybe you realize that people are speaking a different language. Maybe culture shock. What else did you find there? The food.
So I realized people smoke a lot in Hungary.
Okay.
They do smoke a lot.
Both genders?
Both genders in equal measure.
Okay.
You find kids as young as 15 smoking. I know they shouldn't get the cigarettes from the tobacco shops because they're strictly, if you're not 18, you cannot get into one. But you find they can just tell someone, oh, go get me cigarettes, and people be like, okay. They just go get them. So people there start smoking really when they are really, really young. Okay. Like for the few Hungarians that I know, I'm usually surprised if someone doesn't smoke. Because smoking is such a big thing. And mimi sikuwa nimezoea hivyo hapa. You know, you find even your own teachers, your own professors. Because here in Kenya, we associate smoking with failure or people who are not really doing very well.
There's like a perception.
But there you find even people who are doing very well in their careers, in their, I don't know, kama professors, in their science, in academia, they are smoking, and you're like, oh, strange. And I think socially there it's really, really accepted. So that's one of the biggest culture shocks. And then the other thing is I realized Hungarians are not really open to speak to people. Like you can live with someone next door now, siaimuona at all. Si kama hapa Kenya penye, if I move here today, in the next 1 month, I know the smoky guy, I know the mama mboga, I know my neighbor. No, it doesn't work like that. Everyone is in these little circles of theirs, and it's very hard to intermingle. Okay. So, for example, for me, I find that most of the Hungarians who are my friends, I had to be the one who approached them first. You get? You know, and to be the one who followed up most. Ndo wafike place yenye, okay, we have some kind of friendship.
They're comfortable now.
And if I don't do that, then they won't talk to me. Like kuna some people when we used to talk sometimes back then, but if I stopped talking to them fast, they just stopped. And now tunaangaliananga tu. Very strange.
How about the food? Okay, najua sisi ndo tunapenda ugali and all that, whatever we used to mchele, in the central cultures, pengine mukimo, whatever. So
the food is quite different. It's quite different, to be honest. I think, especially Hungarians, they have a lot of fried food, deep fried food. Hungary is an obese country. You know, I think about 30% of their population is obese because they really eat a lot of pork, a lot of fried food, a lot of cheesy, fatty things. And for me, I don't really like those. And they also, because it's on my cheese, my bacon, they have a million types of sausages.
Processed foods.
And a lot of processed food. So I'm not really a fan of those. What I try to do is I try to get the ingredients that are there and try to replicate what I know from Kenya, you know. Najaribu kupika karais na beans zako, you know. They have some type of unga ya ugali, but it's not really the same. It doesn't taste the same, but you just try it. At least wakona kuku. Beef is not really common. So the most common proteins are usually pork, and chicken. So if you don't get those, if you don't like those, probably proteins itakuwa shida kidogo. But the rest of the basic things kama mayai, fruits, nini, you can easily get them. Yeah.
You'd stayed at MKU for how long?
3.5, 4 years, I think. Yeah.
So you get into a new system abroad. Maybe what is the difference in terms of the kind and quality of education between what you experienced in Kenya or what you perceive to be the whole experience of Kenyan education and the system out there?
To be honest, it's really different. Very, very different. I can make comparisons with MKU, for example.
Yeah.
So, University of Pécs is quite popular and it gets a lot of students in all majors. So what I find, what they do, they divide students into smaller groups. So napata, let's say an intake ya medicine, ikona like, let's say 200 to, like let's say at least 200 students. So these 200 students will be divided into groups of 20, 20, 20, 20. And then we have lectures and seminars and practices.
Okay.
So in lectures, everyone can go because it's a very huge hall. But when it comes to practices and seminars, you just go in the group of 20s. Na kila group ya 20 iko na their teacher in that particular subject. So I think that's a very efficient way to deliver information and knowledge because a teacher can easily handle 20 students.
True.
You know? And especially in those seminars na practices because hapo ndipo wana insisting on the most important things zenye maybe zilipitiwa tu kidogo huko kwa lecture.
Yeah.
So that system for me is like very, very efficient.
Yeah.
Very, very efficient compared to hapa MKU penye mkikuwa group ya 100 munafunzwa hivyo in every single subject.
Okay.
You get.
Okay.
Another thing about Hungary as well, ni let's say the exam period. So the exam period there is 7 weeks. Compared to kama MKU, we had only 2 weeks of exam period. And it's very interesting that in those 7 weeks, you get to arrange which days you do your exams.
Yourself.
So what happens is, each teacher for each subject says, okay, my subject will be available on every Monday, Tuesday, or I don't know, Friday, in all the 7 weeks. Yeah. It's up to you to choose which Friday of which week or which Monday of which week you want to come for the exam.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. So if, for example, someone like me, I like to do my exams within the first 2-3 weeks. So I can arrange and finish my exams within 3 weeks. And it's 4 weeks, zingine niko free.
Yeah.
You know? And then the other good thing about Pécs, for example, in Hungary, si kama hapo penye mnafanya exams December, munapata results April the next year. Yeah. You do your exam today. If it was an oral exam, at the end of that exam, you know whether you've passed or not and what grade did you get. If it was a written exam, the very same day, mwalimu atenda mark, ama the very next day they will mark and give the results immediately. So your story of missing marks, you forget.
Yeah.
Forget. Hakuna ati karatasi ilipotelea wapi, ama ilifanya nini, no. You get your results within the very same day or the next day maximum. Yeah. And then also within the 7-week period, you usually get 3 chances. So if let's say I go and attempt this subject in the first week of exam period and I fail it, I can still attempt it 2 more times within these 7 weeks.
Wow.
Yes. So it's a really efficient system. Si kama huku penye ukianguka utajua next year April na utaretake the same year December.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work like that. So, and it's good. I think, to be honest, it's good. But the problem is, hapa we had a bit less of a workload in terms of subjects, but there is a lot more. It's a lot more. They go into very, very tiny details. Penye hata mimi mwenyewe nikiwa MK hatukuwa tunasoma in that much detail.
For the same subject.
For the same subject, you go through so much detail.
Yeah.
So much detail. So unapata there is a very bulky amount of information and unafaa ujue before you go to the exam.
I left something off when you're mentioning about the focused groups now, like the way they divide classes. You remind me of if you've been through the public education system in Kenya,
Yeah.
and you walk into a common unit, you might know the struggle.
I know.
Yeah. In terms of now the education, people say the Kenyan system is hard, especially 844 ambayo tumepitia. Now I know the systems have changed. Comparing now the two, pengine with your test of what you had huku hivi and huko, which one would you say is tougher?
I can only talk about the university level.
Yes, the university level.
Because hizo zingine, I am not really conversant with them.
Yeah.
So with the university level, it's a lot. I think it's way harder. It's way harder compared to Kenya, to be honest. Juu kama mimi niko MKU, I never did a single oral exam, you know. But there, you are expected to do an oral exam. There, you're expected to explain what you've learned.
Yeah.
You know, you go there, the teacher asks you so many questions to see how much do you understand this information, then you may learn. So it's not just about going, memorizing, and going to paste in an exam. Yeah. Like it was, usually in Kenya we used to do that, especially kitu kama uelewi, unasema utakram tu.
Utakram usiku.
Unakram, unaenda una paste, unapita.
Yeah.
But hapo unapata some teachers can be quite thorough with how much you've actually understood this information. Yeah. And I think that makes it a bit difficult compared to here, because mwalimu akifeel you have not really understood it, atakwangusha to exam. Yeah. You know, takwambia go read again and attempt the exam. So I think that's tough. And then again, in the subjects, there's a lot of criterion requirements. So let's say a subject like, let's say pharmacology, just a subject. Before you get to do the main exam, first of all, you have to attend all, at least 75%, I think, of the seminars, because those are obligatory. By the way, lectures for us are not obligatory. Only seminars and practices are. Because those ones are the ones that we are divided into tiny groups. But zenye kila mtu anaenda kama lectures, they're usually not a must. They do not joke with attendance. If you don't go, then you don't sit for the exam. And that's how you get failed for a year. Yeah. They do not joke with exams. And on top of that, there can be other requirements. For example, some labs might require you to do an exam before each lab to check how prepared are you for that lab. Yeah. And if you don't pass a certain number, then you won't do the exam because you are not ready, basically. And unapata hata hizo labs bado, after you do the lab, there's a lot of analysis of the data or the lab reports that you have to do afterwards, which also has to be checked. And if it's not good, then you cannot do the exam. So unapata, just to sit for the main exam, I usually say, you have gone through a lot. Yeah. You know, because so much requirements, so much requirements. Eti kama hapa Kenya penye, you know, utasainiwa na mtu, nini, hapo unapatanga, for example, some subjects, you have to scan a QR code. Yeah. And to scan that QR code, you have to use your credentials as a portal. Yeah. I think you had a portal in, hata huko Kenya kuna portals. Yes. So I have to log into my portal and scan the code. So if I'm not really there, I cannot really do it. And they are very strict with attendance. Yeah. Ukikosa kwenda hizo attendances zenye wamesema, watakuangusha hivyo semester. And they are not apologetic about it. They are very straightforward. If you don't come, then that's it. Yeah. Next year.
Jeff, there's something interesting you said when we started this whole interview. You were pursuing what are you pursuing? Just repeat it again, please. Please do.
It's called Doctor of Pharmacy degree.
Doctor of Pharmacy degree. So that means you're doing your PhD in pharmacy.
Not really. So in pharmacy, you can do 2 types of majors.
Okay.
A bachelor in pharmacy or a doctor of pharmacy degree.
Okay.
So a doctor of pharmacy degree is usually considered a combined. It's like a bachelor's and a master's.
Oh, okay.
So if you have a doctor of pharmacy degree, you can directly enroll for a PhD.
For PhD.
Unlike someone who has a bachelor's of pharmacy degree.
Okay.
So I think that's the major difference. And hapa Kenya tunanga a doctor of pharmacy degree, it's usually bachelor's, but a lot of European universities usually have the doctor of pharmacy degree because wanakwanga like, pharmacy you have to study for 5 years to get that degree. Medicine 6 and law school, I think 5. So the majors which have 5+ years, they usually call them doctor of something. Yeah, doctor of medicine, doctor of dentistry, doctor of pharmacy. So yeah, those people usually get the title doctor as well.
When you come with that doctor degree, you can still enroll for a PhD in Kenya as well.
To be honest, I'm not really sure, but I think you can. But the problem with Kenya is sometimes they do not understand that doctor of degree. So when you come here, it will be equated to a bachelor's.
According to our system.
According to our system. But I think as we advance, slowly, we'll get there where they will also formally recognize the doctor of pharmacy degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After your studies, what do you intend to do? Are we looking at Jeff coming back home to contribute to the pharmaceutical industry?
Yeah.
Maybe in production. I know Kenya is very optimistic right now about vaccines and drug production.
Yeah.
So maybe what's the plan?
I do not really know yet.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of dynamics when it comes to being abroad. Because, especially with our nationality and our passports, we need a lot of paperwork when it comes to move from one country to the other, or even changing from one type of permit to another. So for me, for example, if I want to change from the student permit that I have to a work permit, there's very strict and usually very high requirements. So sometimes you can want to stay there, but the requirements might be too high for the employers to meet. You get, especially the fact that you're just a fresh graduate. Sometimes you don't get the very high paying jobs. The salary threshold that the country requires you to get so that they can give you a work permit. Sometimes it can be hard. However, I think either way, whether I choose to stay there or come back in Kenya, I think pharmacy profession is really good because I have friends of mine who've studied there and come here and they still get jobs and they still get good lives. So I think either way is still okay. I'm open, to be honest.
Either way is okay.
Yeah.
When you're there on your scholarship, I understand that under the arrangement you get some stipends and those kind of covers and allowances to like just sustain you. But maybe people may be curious to know, do you get the permit to work or take other jobs when you're free outside of the classroom?
In Hungary, fortunately, there's something we call student jobs. They are quite common. So as long as you're a student, you get a student card. And then an interesting thing about getting a student card is that it's not issued by the university, it's issued by the government itself. And once you get that student card, you're entitled to get student jobs. So basically, these are usually manual jobs, but you can get like sijui kama itawa blue collar ama ni white collar za ofisi pia, depending on your major or how lucky you are. But then there's a limitation. You can usually work maximum of 30 hours in a week. Yeah, but you can get some jobs which can give you some extra source of income.
How is the cost of living over there? Sahi Wakenya wanateta bro. Wakenya wanateta. How is it over there?
It's the same over there. So you can imagine the price of anything in Kenya uko ni 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
Yes. And then the worst thing that their currency is lower than the currency of Kenya. So it's pretty expensive to stay there. Yes.
What kind of positive contribution do we see you bringing back to the country from your studies, from what you've experienced and your training over there? Because, of course, we expect that there's something different that you've experienced, something different that you've learned.
I think for me in the health sector, especially in the pharmaceutical sector, we have a huge niche because working there, because I've interned with a pharmaceutical company, and I realized most pharmaceutical companies do not invest in looking for drugs that affect Africans, because one, pharmaceutical companies are usually profit driven.
Okay.
African countries are usually a bit poor and they cannot usually pay for those drugs.
We wait for AIDS.
Yeah. So you find some of the drugs we use in some conditions are very toxic, very outdated, not even updated, hata hazijaangaliwa in a very long time, because these companies are just not willing to put in the work, because the market here cannot really afford to pay for that. And so I think if our governments, for example, could invest more in our research here, we could get to produce our own drugs here.
Yeah.
And that would make this health sector grow a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we can also learn from the health insurance system. For example, Hungary, I think one of its advantages is their health insurance system. It's really organized.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether the government is trying to do that with SHA, but I hope eventually it's what it's trying to do. But you find, like, if you have they call it Thai card there. So if you have a Thai card and you go to the hospital, you won't pay for nothing. Nothing. Especially kama ni inpatient. Unaingia, ataka utakuwa admitted, kama utabebwa na ambulance, kama utadungwa, kama utafanywa surgery, you won't pay nothing.
Wow.
You will walk out of the hospital.
Whether you contribute to the scheme or not.
So that is the thing. If you're young, I think when Hungarians are born, they usually get a Thai number. Everyone gets it when they are born. And they are covered without contributing until they start working. Until they start working, ndio kunakuwa na contribution.
So not up from 18, majority age,
no,
20 something.
Until you start working.
Wow.
So when you start working, ndio utaanza to make the contribution for that. Yep. And then for us as foreigners, the scholarship, it gets the Thai number for us, and it contributes it for us.
Okay.
So if I get sick there, sinanga stress, I'll just go to the hospital and I will just pay for nothing.
What would be your advice for anyone watching this right now who is inspired? They maybe want to try a new education system. They maybe want to pursue their education in Hungary or wherever outside of the country maybe. And
if you're really passionate about it, I would tell them to go for it. Because it really opens up your mind to the world. And you get to see how things can be different, even in your own country. You start to think things differently. And also your kuchanganya na watu, you really get to understand how to you meet each other, because we are very different culturally all over the world. You know, some people eat this, some people don't eat that, some people are this religion, some are that religion, some people have, you know, very strict governments, others don't. And I think with interacting with these people, you get to kind of learn to tolerate differences. Yeah. You know, because everyone has their own culture, their own set of beliefs, and their culture might not necessarily have everything that is in your own culture, but in a way you find a baseline and you can relate without stepping on each other's toes. True. And I think that for me, kwenda abroad ilinifanya nikuwe very tolerant. Yeah. I try to understand why some people are the way they are. I may not 100% agree, but if there's something we can agree on, then I choose, let's relate based on that. Yeah. People may not understand you, but you will come to learn that when you're living, you'll have to understand people for you to live easily. For anyone looking forward to applying for the stipendium, I know the applications have closed. I think they just closed maybe 2 days ago, I think so. A day or two ago. Yeah. So maybe what could be your advice to them? Maybe hope
And maybe the way forward, when they're walking into those panels now, the nomination panels in Kenya. Yeah.
First of all, it opens up every year. I think November 15th this year, it will open up, and it usually lasts, the application period lasts for 2 months. It's usually open from 15th November to 15th January the following year. And so after you apply, you have to wait for the call for nomination. So when you're called, you go for an interview in the Ministry of Education, and then afterwards you're informed whether your interview was a success or not. The Ministry of Education interview is not really hard because they usually ask your motivation, you know, what are your future careers, to see how maybe the interest of Kenya might align with what you're doing there. They also check to see how informed you are about the current affairs of Kenya. So it's not usually hard. So it's pretty basic. And then after that, if you're nominated, you go to the university level. And the university level, now there they check specific things for your major.
Yeah.
For example, in my case, because I was going to do pharmacy, I had to sit for an exam in biology and chemistry. Usually they organize an oral exam, an oral interview, or sometimes they can have both written and oral. So yeah, it depends on the university basically.
Yeah.
And then once you pass that, you just have to wait for the result of the scholarship, which I think happens around June or early July.
Hungary is in Central Europe.
Yes.
I understand it's landlocked, and one of their neighbors is actually Ukraine.
Yeah.
Do you have an interest in politics? Do you follow?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe how has the war impacted Hungary, or by extension, even, you know, we humans, we affected even differently, psychologically, you being there, and you know there's a war raging somewhere. How is it impacting Hungary in general in various sectors?
It caused some sort of inflation as well. Hungary, unfortunately, is very reliant on Russian oil. And because of the invasion of Russia in Ukraine, the EU, which Hungary is still a member of, put some sanctions against Russia. So it puts Hungary in this interesting scenario where they're in the EU, which is sanctioning Russia, but Hungary is still in bed with Putin, you know, because they want their oil.
Yeah.
So, and you know, oil, when the price of oil goes up, everything eventually follows.
Yeah.
Because we are so reliant on oil, you know, to run our industries, to run our cars, you know, to produce. So yes, it made things start. Literally, I remember in those very early periods of war, you would go to the supermarket today, you see the price, tomorrow it has increased, the day after something else. Like unaenda hivyo, within a period of 2 to 3 weeks, unapata kila siku your price inaenda ikienda juu. So for example, now what I could buy in my first year at, let's say, 200 forints, saiko uko 600, 800 forints at the moment. So unapata, you have to increase the amount of money you spend because it has changed a lot. A lot. And then also a lot of Ukrainians and a lot of also immigrants. There were a lot of immigrants, by the way, when you were uko Ukraine as students, as workers. So all of them started coming all over Europe.
Okay.
You know, I have some friends who I met when walikuja to my university because they used to study in university in Ukraine. And then after the war, they couldn't study there anymore, so they came to study in Hungary. That's how we met. So, yeah, it really affected a lot of people. There's definitely a very huge Kenyan community there, and it's really quite vibrant. So we usually have annual general meetings where we even select our leaders. We get to eat, try to make Kenyan foods with the ingredients we have, you know, play some Kenyan music. Sometimes we have even parties which are with Kenyan DJs. unaenda mahali wanacheza Kenyan music and you get to enjoy that. So yes, the Kenyan community there is really vibrant.
Maybe what you do
During my free time.
Your free time.
Usually in my free time, what do I usually do? I'm quite a busy individual. So I usually don't have a lot of free time because I still try to balance school with a bit of work. Because you have to kind of get your upkeep there. Because the stipend that you get is usually not enough to cover all your needs. So you usually have to balance school and work. However, when I have some time, for me, I usually like to travel. I never thought I would enjoy traveling as much until I went to Europe. Because there traveling is easy because the countries there are small. So you can easily move from one country to the other, either by road, by air, by train. So I really, really enjoy traveling. And I usually plan my vacations in advance. So yeah, that is what I would say I do a lot in my free time. And maybe hiking a bit. And I tried swimming for some time. It wasn't really my thing. But yeah.
Have you learned Hungarian yourself?
Yeah, I can speak a basic level of it.
Okay. Teach us one word, at least.
So when you say hi, you say sia.
Sia.
Sia is the informal way. And then the formal way, you say yonapot. Usually from mid-morning to the evening. In the morning, you say yoregelt, because that's like good morning. And then in the evening, you say yoeshte. So that's like the greetings. And then for thank you, you say kosonom. For welcome, you say siveshen. Yeah, those are the most basic Hungarian words.
Nimeshika sia.
Yeah.
Okay, the questions. Tea or coffee?
Neither.
Okay. What's one thing you cannot go a day without?
That's a good one. One thing, kuangalia reels on Instagram.
Okay. If you were to carry something from Kenya on your trip back to Hungary, what would it be?
Maembe.
Wow. Which Hungarian meal or snack do you enjoy the most?
It's not really Hungarian, I think it's Italian, but nilijua nikiwa Hungary. So maybe you can call it Hungarian. But I enjoy tiramisu.
Okay.
Yeah.
You visited a couple of European countries. Which one did you love the most and why?
I loved Switzerland. Switzerland is really green and really lush. Like the aesthetic of it just wows you.
Yeah.
I think Switzerland, yes. And my second best, I would say Greece. I really love the turquoise Mediterranean waters. Yeah. The blue is really blue and the water is really clean and I enjoyed it. So I would say those two.
Last one. If you were a fruit, what would you be and why?
A fruit?
Yes.
I think I would be a pineapple.
Why?
Because I think it's the most underrated fruit. And the pina colada as well. It just really goes well with the alcohol and the enjoyment.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for joining us till the end of this episode where we were having Jeff with us, who's shared a lot of insights on Hungary, Stipendium Hungaricum, and just his experience out there. Hungary, at least I've learned a word, sia. It's a greeting.
Yes, and also bye, by the way.
A bye also.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was it from us today. Thank you so much. My name is Eliud Muchiri, and we hope to see you again. Do make sure to keep following us. You can subscribe, and we shall keep bringing you more. Thank you so much. See you next time.